Have you ever wished you could be more like a starfish? I know, it sounds a bit strange, but think about it. If a starfish loses an arm, it doesn't just heal, it grows a brand new one. Some species can even regrow their entire body from a single severed limb. Now, compare that to us. A paper cut, we're fine. A lost finger, that's a different story. It's gone for good. Why is there such a massive difference in the animal kingdom when it comes to regeneration? Why can a salamander regrow a whole leg, complete with bones, muscles, and nerves, while we're stuck with simple scar tissue? Today, we're diving deep into the incredible science of regeneration to answer that very question. And stick around, because we'll also explore the groundbreaking research that might one day unlock these abilities in humans. So, what's the secret sauce these animals have? It largely comes down to two key players: stem cells and the immune system's response to injury. Let's start with the undisputed champions of regeneration, like the planarian flatworm. You can slice this little guy into dozens of pieces, and each piece will grow into a complete new worm. It's mind-boggling. Their bodies are packed with a special type of adult stem cell called neoblasts. These are pluripotent, meaning they can become any type of cell. The worm needs skin, nerve, muscle, you name it. When the worm is injured, these neoblasts rush to the wound site, multiply like crazy, and then differentiate to rebuild whatever was lost perfectly. They have the ultimate biological toolkit, always ready to go. Then we have vertebrates like the salamander or the axolotl, that adorable walking fish that's actually an amphibian. They can regenerate complex structures like limbs, hearts, spinal cords, and even parts of their brain. Their method is a bit different. When they lose a limb, a specialized structure called a blastema forms at the wound site. Think of it as a command center for regeneration. Cells near the injury dedifferentiate, meaning they revert to a more primitive, stem cell-like state. These cells then form the blastema, which contains all the instructions needed to regrow a perfect, functional limb. It's like hitting the rewind button on cellular development. Now, let's contrast that with what happens in our bodies. When we suffer a major injury, our immune system goes into high alert. Its top priority isn't to perfectly rebuild what was lost, but to prevent infection and close the wound as fast as possible. This response is dominated by inflammation and scarring. Specialized cells called fibroblasts rush in and produce a dense mesh of collagen fibers, forming a scar. While scars are great at patching things up quickly, they're not functional tissue. A scar on your heart muscle doesn't beat, and a scar on your skin doesn't have hair follicles or sweat glands. It's a quick fix, not a true restoration. Essentially, our bodies prioritize survival and speed over perfect reconstruction. In our evolutionary past, a quick seal against infection was probably more advantageous than the slow, energy-intensive process of regrowing a limb. Interestingly, we do have some regenerative abilities, especially when we're very young. A human fetus can heal without scarring, and there are rare cases of children regrowing fingertips if the injury is just right and does undamage the nail bed. This suggests we haven't completely lost the genetic instruction manual for regeneration. It just gets silenced or overridden as we age. The genes are there, but they're switched off. The big question for scientists is, can we switch them back on? This is where the story gets really exciting. Researchers are working tirelessly to understand the genetic and molecular signals that control regeneration. One of the biggest breakthroughs has been in understanding the role of the immune system. In regenerative animals like the axolotl, immune cells called macrophages play a crucial role. Instead of promoting scarring like they do in mammals, they create an anti-inflammatory environment that is permissive for regeneration. They're like traffic cops directing the cellular construction crew, ensuring everything goes smoothly. In mammals, if you remove macrophages after an injury, scarring gets worse. In axolotls, if you remove them, regeneration fails and they scar just like we do. This discovery is huge. It suggests that if we could modulate our own immune response at a wound site, tipping the balance away from inflammation and towards pro-regenerative signals, we might be able to encourage our bodies to rebuild instead of just repair. And the latest breakthroughs are truly stepping into the realm of science fiction. In a landmark study, scientists at Tufts University were able to trigger limb regeneration in African clawed frogs, which normally don't regenerate limbs as adults. They created a small bioreactor cap, which they called a biodome, filled with a cocktail of 5 drugs. This cocktail was designed to reduce inflammation, encourage new nerve and blood vessel growth, and essentially kickstart the regenerative process. They applied this device to the amputation stump for just 24 hours. The results were astounding. Over the next 18 months, the frogs regrew functional, leg-like structures, complete with bone, vascular networks, and even toe-like extensions at the end. They weren't perfect replicas, but the frogs could use them to propel themselves through water. This wasn't just simple healing. It was true, complex tissue regeneration triggered by a brief intervention. It showed that the necessary information to build a limb is still present in the frog's cells. It just needs the right push to get started. The researchers believe this approach could be a game changer. Instead of trying to micromanage the entire complex process of regrowing a limb step by step, we might only need to provide the initial trigger to reboot the system, so to speak, and let the body's own innate intelligence take over. So, where does this leave us? Will we be regrowing limbs like a superhero anytime soon? Probably not tomorrow. The leap from a frog to a human is immense. Our bodies are vastly more complex, our immune systems are different, and the scale is on another level. But the fundamental principles are being uncovered. Scientists are identifying the key genes, like the P21 gene, which acts as a brake on cell division and seems to prevent regeneration in mammals. When this gene is turned off in mice, they show enhanced regenerative abilities, closer to what we see in salamanders. The future of medicine might not be about replacing damaged parts with artificial ones, but about convincing our own bodies to heal themselves perfectly. Imagine a future where a severe burn heals into new, perfect skin instead of a scar, where a damaged heart muscle can regenerate, or where a severed spinal cord can repair itself. This isn't just about regrowing limbs. It's about fundamentally changing how we treat a vast range of injuries and diseases. The secrets are locked away in the DNA of creatures like the humble salamander and the unassuming flatworm. By studying them, we are slowly but surely finding the keys. The journey is long, but for the first time, locking our own latent regenerative potential feels less like a fantasy and more like an achievable scientific frontier. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible scientific journey. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the wonders of science. Let me know in the comments what you think the future of regenerative medicine holds. See you in the next video.